Amazing. Hi, guys.
Hey there, welcome back. I want to make a video series of us playing Five Nights at Freddy's.
We do not qualify for ad campaign. Welcome back to Babble. Hello.
Hi. Okay, mine might be a little bit late.
That's okay.
But
we'll line it up.
we're both recording, and that's what matters. Do you remember when we used to clap?
Yeah, I don't know why we did that.
I think I just saw another podcast do it to line up maybe the video with the audio or something.
I feel like that
But
makes more sense because you're seeing the clap. So you know to put the audio when the that makes more sense. I don't know what we were trying to do.
I was just we need to line it up. Let's clap. But never worked.
Yeah.
Well,
hello,
we skipped
everybody.
last week, didn't we?
We did. We didn't even tell you guys that we were skipping last week.
So sorry. We just time slipped away from us.
Yeah.
That's just how it is.
Things have been really crazy for both of us. I mean, you're in Ireland, so the fact that you're even still podcasting is crazy to me. I mean, I love that we're still doing it. It just
oh, absolutely.
Just
the timing is harder and harder to line up, and it was already hard to line up when we were on the same time schedule. So
well, it was hard when we were 1 hour apart, and now we're 5 hours apart. So it's even harder. But we're doing the best we can, and we're gonna try to keep putting stuff out for you guys.
Yeah, it may be every other week, but we're trying.
Yeah. But yeah,
keeping it pushing.
Last week was a little crazy. Lucy was living her little life, and I was having a major...
I think I like this little life.
And I was having an extreme academic career crisis. So that was fun.
Yeah.
Also
As we
a family crisis, also a living situation crisis.
Just a life crisis, it sounds like.
It was really a lot. And this all happened within the span of 3 days. So
it's exhausting.
Anyway, I'm okay now. I ran away to Massachusetts last weekend, and I'm feeling fine now. I bought a camera, and that has saved my life. I'm having so much
I
fun
saw
with
that. Is it what type of camera is it? Because I saw the picture, but it was so cute.
It's just a digital, so it's essentially the little rectangular ones.
Yeah.
It's essentially that. It just looks fancier, and the lens is better. But It was brand new. I bought it off Facebook Marketplace. It's a $300 camera. I got it for $120. Brand new.
Nice.
And
That's
I
really
love it.
good.
I've already taken so many photos. They'll be on my
That
Instagram
one you sent
soon.
me was super cute, but super vintagey as well. I really liked it.
Thank you. Okay, I'm glad. I wasn't sure because I was at first I freaked out. I was this is the cutest photo I've ever taken, but it's super blurry. But also, I'm going to use just that photo for an Instagram post because a milestone is coming up. So
pretty
I'm going to use...
I would say.
It is very big. So I'm going to use that picture for that. But, yeah, it's been very fun.
What day is it?
The 21st.
Of February?
Yeah.
All right, guys, mark your calendars for the 21st of February. And Instagram drop will be happening on Amelia's account.
Yeah. It's not that big a deal, guys. It's an anniversary that I've never
celebrated. It is a big
before.
deal. That is a really, really big deal.
It's
awesome.
A really big deal. Also, this is my first Valentine's Day, actually having a Valentine, except I hate Valentine's Day.
I could not disagree more. I love Valentine's Day.
We are not really doing Valentine's Day is on a Wednesday, and then our anniversary is the following Wednesday, and obviously we're both in school, so we can't be together on either of those days. But the weekend in between is President's Day, so it's a very long weekend. So he's gonna come up here, and we're gonna celebrate then. And I think I'm gonna say right now on this episode what the anniversary gift was and tell him not to listen to it.
Okay.
He hasn't been keeping
Be
up
careful.
anyway. No, I will.
Okay.
Oh, should I? I told you, though. You already know.
Yeah, you should. You should.
Okay.
It's funny.
So, if you guys don't know, there's a TikToker called Custom Wood Burning, and she's been doing this since, like, 2020, I think, but she's been blowing up a lot recently. Cause it's very
I remember
satirical.
seeing her in 2020 and being like,
oh, I do too.
She is so funny.
Well, the thing is, it's like a shitty wood, like at-home wood burning kit, and she makes like really funny, like purposefully bad pieces, and like a lot of her jokes, she says things wrong, like she'll say customers, she'll be like, thank you for supporting my hashtag small business. My favorite is when she goes to say LGBTQ community, she goes, LGBTQIZ community. Like she'll just like, it's so funny. But
she's like not artistically talented either.
Not at
like,
all.
The custom wood burnings look just so bad.
So bad. But she puts her little swirly whirlies on them, and it's really funny. So she's been doing that for a long time, but recently she's been doing TikTok lives, and they are the funniest things I've ever seen. I could not tell you what is happening on one of her lives. It's just so funny because she's just so funny because she plays this like super modest, super strict, like sort of southernish accent character, but like she's not at all. She's just so funny, and people keep sending her the meme with that baby. You know what I'm talking about? Dank Botico Harditi. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh yes.
Yeah, like that. It's just so funny, but the whole thing is so funny. And the other thing too is this whole time I thought it was like a platinum blonde 40-year-old woman that lives alone with like a bad haircut. I don't know if you know this, Lucy. She's like in her early 20s and looks like a bisexual girl.
That makes sense to me because I feel like a bisexual girl in her early 20s would have that sense of humor.
She's a genius. Like, it's so funny.
She definitely sounds older than she is.
Yeah.
But I think it's like the fake accent that she's doing. Like, it totally makes sense that she's that age.
Because when you think of like, why it's so funny. But this is like
if you
her
think
full-time
of,
job.
That is crazy. If you think of like other like creators that have like a really weird sense of humor, like they're all around that age.
Yeah.
Right now at least. But
anyway, she's really funny. And Oscar like thinks she is the funniest ever. Like every video he is dying laughing. Like
she's really good at like coming up with stuff on the spot too. Like she's good at,
and it's just so ridiculous. Yeah. Like our favorite one right now is like on a live, follower asked her to draw her dog, and she was like, okay, so what's your dog's name? And the follower goes, DEEZN, and there's a pause, and she just goes, watch it, like really loud and scarily. So
I think I have seen that video.
Like it's just like really stupid stuff, but it's so funny. Another one is she'll be like, I'm getting like instead of pissed. Like it's just dumb.
That sounds like something Emily would say for some reason.
It's genius. I don't know, but anyway, we quote her to each other. Like she has just become a part of our relationship at this point. Anyway, so for our
They're looking for a third. They're looking for a third.
No, we're not. For our anniversary, her shop has been closed for a while, and it opened back up 2 weeks ago. So I ordered a custom wood burning piece for him. And basically what you do is you like give a prompt, and she does her own thing with it. So I think I just said,
what was the prompt?
I think I was just like, actually, I can find it. I was able to find it. I was going to text it to you that day I was telling you about it, and I couldn't find it, but then I did. Also, did you see she did a Saltburn one? Did I send that to you?
No, I haven't seen that.
Oh my god, the caption on it is like, tongue in that drain or something. Hold on, I'm going to send it to you. I'm going to send it to you. That's
funny.
Really quickly.
Well, guys, I'm going to plug myself here while she's looking for that. I got a camcorder and I brought it with me to London, and my first little video will be up on YouTube
You guys.
Probably when you're hearing this, it's probably already out.
Wait,
My
that's so
YouTube is
fancy.
I know. It's like really bad quality, but it's just like a cheap little camcorder that I got from my dad. So
I didn't know
I'm really
about
excited
this.
about it. I know.
That's so
I'm really
fun.
excited. So it'll be uploaded by the time you're hearing this on Friday. I'm vowing now it will be uploaded. I'm going to upload it tomorrow. So
That's so exciting. Okay, I found the prompt. So I said,
Okay.
This is from my boyfriend Oscar for our 1 year anniversary. He wears glasses, loves trading cards, loves a band called Good Rats, and cats, specifically Garfield. And that is the whole prompt. I'm letting her run.
He
with it.
wears glasses.
Well, I wanted her to add like the nerd aspect, you know?
Yeah.
I didn't want to send like a picture of him, but like, because she always draws a picture of the person too. So I wanted her to at least get that.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited about that.
That's super fun.
I asked if she could do a TikTok video of her making it too. I don't know if she's going to. But anyway, also it was $13.
That's good. That's
like
not
it was
bad.
nothing. Yeah. So very excited about that.
For
Now
a
I have to tell
custom
him-
wood burning piece that will last a lifetime, that's not bad
Literally.
at all.
Also, he has no suspicions. Like, he really can't listen to this episode. But, what was I gonna say? I keep almost telling him because I'm just so excited, but I'm not going to because he has no suspicions at all. And I keep telling him, I'm like, I got you the best gift. And then if I'm with anyone else who's like friends with us and knows, I'll tell them and they like freak out. They're like, this is the best thing ever. Like, I don't know. I feel like this is great. I'm very excited about it.
No, I think he'll really like it. You need to like try to record his reaction because that is so funny.
I will. The thing is, I don't know if it's going to get here on time, which is okay. But I'm trying to decide
that's
if
fine.
I should tell him.
No, I think you should wait until he opens it. Like, I think you shouldn't tell him.
Yeah. I'm very excited. Hopefully it comes earlier. We'll see. But yeah, that's what I got.
Super fun. Super fun. Super shy. Super shy.
Also, you guys.
La, 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 la.
Yeah.
What?
Gotta like.
This.
I would like to ask a listener favor. I don't usually do this, but I need some help with manifesting.
Okay.
Or
what do you want to
praying
manifest?
or whatever. I have an opportunity to potentially go to Iceland for 10 days, fully funded by the school. And if you guys know me, I've wanted to go to Iceland quite literally my entire life. But I do have to apply for it, and priority goes to like a different major kind group of students.
Mm-hmm.
So I can apply and get in, but I won't be priority. So I'm going to make my application so good. I'm going to get a bunch of recommendation letters. But if everyone can just send out some good vibes for me. Because this is something I've always wanted.
We will. Amelia, we're sending you good vibes. Oh, good vibes. Good vibes. Because, guys, this girl has been talking about Iceland ever since I met her. Like, that place has been on her heart. So, let's get this girl to Iceland.
This is
Let's
like
go
once
play
in a
some
lifetime.
basketball.
Let's play some basket. What is that from?
It's Fergie singing the national anthem.
Oh, that's right. Let's play some basketball. What was I gonna say? Yeah. So some good vibes. Send good vibes. Also, send money. No, I'm just kidding. But also, if you guys want to, send us money. Okay.
Send good vibes, but also, more importantly, send us good funds.
But also, we're poor. And
My
trying to be
Venmo, like,
travelers.
it's really, really easy to find. Just send stuff my way, because honestly,
well,
I'm not fit to be living in Europe with the amount of things I want to buy over here.
This actually could be a good segue. If you're good with
Okay.
me segueing. Guys, I'm going to be talking a lot this episode because I just have a lot of exciting things to talk about. I'm sorry.
She's got a lot of exciting things to talk about. I'm a little bit of brain dead because I had a long day. So we're going to let Amelia take the forefront of this episode.
Yeah. It's like 4 o'clock here and 9 o'clock there. So like Lucy's going to bed after this, and I'm drinking coffee and going to orchestra rehearsal. So I'm like pumped. Anyway, all right. Well, I forgot everything I was going to say.
Let's get into it.
Thank you guys for tuning in. Just kidding.
Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week. Maybe.
The money thing. When I say it's a segue. It kind of is not really, but so I've been listening to this new podcast, you guys, and I want to plug it because it's so good, but I am also going to tell a story. They did like an episode about this event, and I wanted to, Lucy's never heard of it, so I wanted to bring and tell it, but let's also just go ahead and say that, like, listen to this podcast, yes, but listen to all of our episodes first. Yes, do both. But this podcast is called Let's Get Haunted with Nat and Allie. They are really funny. Honestly, remind me of us a little bit. Like, same kind of dynamic. They just have a really good rapport. They're best friends. Like, it's great. But essentially, like, their tagline is that they talk about events and things that may or may not have even happened. So it's conspiracy theories, ghost stories, aliens, hauntings of any kind. But they're not a huge podcast. They're not they're not as small as we are, but they would be considered like a small, on the lower end, but still they have like in the thousands numbers.
Have they done an episode about the haunting of a certain group of animatronics?
I don't know if they have. So we got them beat there.
Yeah, we do have them beat there, but
they did.
Keep
Today
going.
I listened to the one about the Bell Witch, and I already knew everything because Tennessee.
Yeah.
Like we know about the John Bell house, you know, like
She is from Tennessee. She's a Tennessee girl.
It was crazy.
She's a country girl.
Country girl.
By the way, there's a new Lana album coming out this year, and it's a country album, and it's coming out in my birth month, possibly even on my birthday, and I am so excited.
That's so exciting. Also, new Phoebe Bridgers album, Please for the Love of Everything Good and Evil.
I really hope so.
I need it.
Did you ever read The School of Good and Evil as a kid?
No. Know.
I always saw the book cover and wanted to read it, but I never did.
Maybe we should.
Anyways,
read that
keep
for
going.
The pod.
Maybe we should. I'll look into it.
We are reading another book for the pod.
Yes. So probably in maybe 2 weeks you'll get that episode.
Yep. So stay tuned for that. It's another book that I have read before that is not that great. I keep choosing books I've read before and hated because I just want to make sure everyone else hated it as much as I did.
Yeah.
But yes, so Let's Get Haunted. Really fun podcast. I've listened to like the first 30 episodes in maybe a week. Like I think I started listening to them this time last week. And I'm just really obsessed. So you guys should go check them out. But something that was really funny is like one of their first 10 episodes they talked about Area 51, and this was back in like 2019 before the storming of Area 51, but like it was a planned event. So they were just joking. They were like, if the listeners fund our trip to Area 51, we'll go storm Area 51, and they did. And I think that's awesome. So if you guys have anything crazy that you want us to go do,
and you want to fund it,
we'll do.
I don't know, like maybe a trip to Iceland.
I know, like maybe, I don't know, but if you guys have, it can be something so stupid too, or like, I don't know, like anything that, obviously, if you guys ever have any ideas, you could just tell us. But if it's anything that involves money that you want us to do, tell us, and then like we can try to get some money for it and do it.
Yeah, we could always like go to the bank. You give us your bank account number and everything. Yeah, like that would just be a really fun activity.
Yeah, it would be a great like 5-second story to talk about on this episode.
Like you'd get a shout out even like and everything. So like definitely worth it. I don't know, just something to consider.
So yeah. So I do I have the same article here? Sorry, I'm getting my articles ready. So anyway, Let's Get Haunted is a really good podcast, and you guys should check it out because I think I'm enjoying it a lot, and I'm telling Lucy to listen to it. But anyway, they have told a lot of good stories, but one they told that I really enjoyed, I listened to it yesterday, and I almost had to call my roommate because I was walking back from the parking garage and was afraid to walk back by myself because it was spooky. Aww. It is also a true story and has been adapted into a Netflix TV show.
Okay. What TV show?
It's called The Watcher.
Oh, okay.
I haven't watched it. I am going to watch it, though, now after this. But I've been told it's not that great. Because it's like a based on a true story thing. It's not like a true crime TV show. Yeah. But this is a true story. A more recent true story as well. It is super spooky, and it's unsolved. No one really knows who this person was or what happened.
Unsolved, things, freak me out. I'm like, because why can't we figure it out? Why can't we figure out the puzzle?
It is so creepy. And I'm going to try to tell this the best I can. Obviously, if you guys want a better telling of this, go listen to the Let's Get Haunted. I mean, listen to this one first, but then go listen to the Let's Get Haunted episode. They have a special guest on for that story. His name is Jamie Kennedy. He's an actor. He was in the first Scream movie. And he's a comedian. But anyway, it was a really good episode. And they tell the story so well. Literally, I got on this call with Lucy and was like, wait, I should tell you about The Watcher. So I'm going to try to throw this together.
Let's hear Amelia's version.
Yeah. Are you ready? Do you have anything else to add?
I'm so ready.
Okay.
I'm just excited to hear it. I feel like I haven't heard a good true crime or horror story in a long time.
Even if I tell the story not great, there's aspects of it that I will be reading paragraphs. Mm-hmm. You'll see.
I think you're naturally very good at telling stories as well, so I'm not worried.
You'll see. So, okay, let's get started.
Okay.
So, this story takes place in Westfield, New Jersey. Not Massachusetts, because I
thought you were about to say Massachusetts. No. I was like, why are you telling this? This is terrifying.
But honestly, New Jersey is not far from Delaware. I mean, I don't know town-wise, but anyway, so that's a little scary. But anyway, this takes place in 2014, originally. The very beginning of it took place in 2014 in Westfield, New Jersey.
So does it span a long time?
It does. It spans... I mean, it's still unsolved today, and the Netflix show came out in 2022, I think.
Wow.
So, I mean, since it's 10 years of this. But the case, they kind of just let it go at some point, but you'll see. So, 2014 in Westfield, New Jersey, the Brodus family has bought a new home in this neighborhood. It's a 6-bedroom house. The house is at 657 Boulevard. So I'm going to call it 657 Boulevard a lot, and you'll see why. They were doing a bunch of renovations. They did $100,000 in renovations. When they originally bought it, it was $500,000 or $700,000 because it's a very big, very nice house.
Wow.
But now I think it's about 1.3 million or something like that.
Oh my God.
So keep in mind, while this story is happening, they have closed on this house and are doing renovations, but because they're renovating, they're living in their other house part-time. So they're back and forth a little bit. So keep that in mind. So, the Brodus family, it's Derek Brodus, Maria Brodus is the wife, and then they have a couple children, I believe, and I do not remember their names. Their children, they were 5, 8, and 10 years old at this time. I don't think their names matter, but if they come up...
Just call them 5, 8, and 10.
Yep, 5, 8, and 10. So, 657 Boulevard, Westfield, New Jersey, June 2014. Derek Brodus was...
This happened during Pride Month?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a hate crime. Okay.
So... Oh, also, this will come in more later, but I believe it was an old couple that owned the house before, and their last name was Good, I believe.
Okay.
So the Good family or the Goods, I think.
Good.
Woods.
Good.
I think. Woods with a W. My bad.
Oh, Woods. Okay.
I'm so sorry. That makes more sense. So they had lived there before, and they sold their house to the Burtisses. Just something to keep in mind. So, Derek Burtis is finishing up at some renovations this one day in June 2014 and goes outside to check the mail. They do own the house, so it is their mailing address, even though they are still living at their other home. They had closed 3 days before this, so it was very recent. And there wasn't much in the mail except for a few bills and then a white card-shaped envelope that was simply addressed to the new owner. And keep in mind, this is 3 days after they closed on the house, okay? So it's a typed letter. This is already where things get crazy. You ready? I'm going to be reading for a minute.
Okay. The Watcher is such a creepy name. I don't like that. I don't like the idea that someone's watching me.
Okay.
I don't think anyone does.
Okay. We can cut literally all of that waiting out. So, suspense, you know? Okay. So let me start again. So remember, this is 3 days after they close on the house. Derek Burtis is at the house alone finishing up renovations, and he finds this letter in the mailbox addressed to the new owner. And it reads, "Dearest new neighbor at 657 Boulevard, allow me to welcome you to the neighborhood. How did you end up here? Did 657 Boulevard call to you with its force within? 657 Boulevard has been the subject of my family for decades now, and as it approaches its 110th birthday, I have been put in charge of watching and waiting for its second coming. My grandfather watched the house in the 1920s, and my father watched in the 1960s. It is now my time. Do you know the history of the house? Do you know what lies within the walls of 657 Boulevard? Why are you here? I will find out. I see already that you have flooded 657 Boulevard with contractors so that you can destroy the house as it was supposed to be. Bad move. You don't want to make 657 Boulevard unhappy. You have children. I have seen them. So far, I think there are 3 that I have counted. More on the way? Do you need to fill the house with the young blood I requested? Better for me. Was your old house too small for the growing family? Or was it greed to bring me your children? Once I know their names, I will call to them and draw them to me. Who am I? Who am I? There are hundreds and hundreds of cars that drive by 657 Boulevard each day. Maybe I am in one. Look at all the windows you can see from 657 Boulevard. Maybe I am in one. Look out any of the many windows in 657 Boulevard at all the people who stroll by each day. Maybe I am one. Welcome, my friends. Welcome. Let the party begin." And it was signed in cursive, The Watcher.
That's not chill. That is not chill. Ugh, I can't do that. The part where it's like, you have children, I have seen them. That's not cool.
Also, like, the young blood he requested.
Yeah, no, that's crazy.
And, like, talking about the house's second coming and, like, what's in the walls. Like, it's so creepy. Anyway, I just had to tell this, especially because you don't know anything about it. No, literally. I would have moved. Well, keep in mind they were living there part-time. So, and also, like, it was after 10 p.m. and Derek Burtis was by himself when he opened this letter in this new house.
No.
So he immediately raced around the entire house. He was turning off the lights so no one could see inside, and then called the police department. And an officer came to the house, read the letter, and said, in quotes, "What the fuck is this?" Because it's
okay, me too.
Insane. So he asked Derek if he had any enemies, and he recommended, like, keeping construction equipment away from the house just in case the Watcher tried to, like, break in or throw things into the windows or anything like that. So that night, he went back to his wife and kids who were living in their old home, which was in the same city. It was also in Westfield. So also keep in mind, like, when they were at their old home, nothing weird happened. They never got any letters there. Like, nothing happened to them in their old home. It was
Oh,
only
dude,
in
just
this new house.
stay at the old home.
Right. Well, keep in mind, they're paying for their old home still because they haven't sold it, and they just bought this new house. So
Okay.
keep in mind, they're like paying for 2 houses right now. Okay, so he went home to his wife and kids, who were all safe at their old house. Derek and Maria Brodus wrote an email that night to John and Andrea Woods, who were the couple who had sold them the house, to ask if they had any idea what was happening. Because one of the lines in the letter, which I guess was omitted from whatever I just read, is, I asked the Woods to bring me young blood, and it looks like they listened. So they mentioned the Woods by name in the Watcher letter.
Okay, that's weird.
So, Andrea Woods replied and said, they originally said they hadn't noticed anything, but then she replied and said that they had received a letter a few days before they moved out. They noted it had been odd and had a similar thing about the Watcher, like the Watcher's family having historically been watching the house. Yeah, but they lived in that house for 23 years and had never received anything like it. So when they got this new one before they were going to move out, they just threw it away, like, without really thinking about it.
Yeah. I mean,
but then
that is so strange to me, because if I ever got a letter like that, I would not, like, throw it out without thinking about it. Like, oh, that's odd. No, I would be thinking about that day and night. That's crazy.
It is literally crazy. Okay, so that's what the Woodses responded, and then they met up with Maria, and they went to the police station, and the detective of this case, Detective Lugo, we're gonna go with Lugo, told them not to tell anyone about the letters, including new neighbors, because she hadn't met most of them, but they're now all suspects, obviously.
Okay.
So the Broduses spent the next few weeks on super high alert because they're still going back and forth. When Maria ever took the kids to the new house, she would yell their names if they wandered even just a little too far in their yard. Like, people would hear her yelling their names to, like, get them back. That could be important later. That's why that's being mentioned. Give me 1 second. Okay. So, yeah, they're just on super high alert. So, 2 weeks after the first letter arrived, Maria stopped by the house to look at some paint samples, and she checks the mail. And she immediately recognized the thick back lettering on the envelope and called the police. So this is another Watcher letter that came 2 weeks after the first one.
Okay.
Here we go. Okay. Welcome. And this time the letter was addressed to them directly. It was addressed Mr. and Mrs. Brodus. So he found out their names somehow. Okay, so this is the letter. He says, welcome again. He or she says, welcome again to your new home at 657 Boulevard. The workers have been busy, and I have been watching you unload carfuls of your personal belongings. The dumpster is a nice touch. Have they found what is in the walls yet? In time, they will. And then he goes on to say, I am pleased to know your names now and the name of the young blood you have brought me. You certainly say their names often. Is she the artist in the family? He's asking about one child in particular. So this part of the article is cut out, but he asks in the letter about one of the kids in particular because he sees her painting on an easel inside the enclosed porch. So he has seen one of the children using an easel. So then the letter continues. 657 Boulevard is anxious for you to move in. It has been years and years since the young blood ruled the hallways of the house. Have you found all of the secrets it holds yet? Will the young blood play in the basement, or are they too afraid to go down there alone? I would be very afraid if I were them. It is far away from the rest of the house. If you were upstairs, you would never hear them scream. Will they sleep in the attic, or will you all sleep on the second floor? Who has the bedrooms facing the street? I'll know as soon as you move in. It will help me to know who is in which bedroom. Then I can plan better. All of the windows and doors in 657 Boulevard allow me to watch you and track you as you move through the house. Who am I? I am the watcher and have been in control of 657 Boulevard for the better part of 2 decades now. The Woods family turned it over to you. It was their time to move on and kindly sold it when I asked them to. I pass by many times a day. 657 Boulevard is my job, my life, my obsession. And now you are too, Brodus family. Welcome to the product of your greed. Greed is what brought the past 3 families to 657 Boulevard, and now it has brought you to me. Have a happy moving in day. You know I will be watching. So, obviously, Derek and Maria stopped bringing their kids to the house. Like, they were not going as often. They're completely freaked out because this is crazy. And so several weeks after that letter, a third one arrived that simply said, "Where have you gone to? 657 Boulevard is missing you." So give me your thoughts while I look through.
When he was saying 657 is my life, my obsession, that is so me talking about anything I like. Like, why am I kind of like understanding the watcher? No, I'm just kidding. No, that's terrifying. That's absolutely terrifying. If I even, like, I think most people probably have this fear, but just like the idea that people could be watching me at any time is freaky, let alone like in my own home where I feel safe and comfortable.
The other thing to keep in mind, I mean, this person is talking a lot about greed and like being wealthy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm kind of skimming the rest of this article. Those were the 2 big letters.
Okay. Good. I do not want to hear another. Like, that is so creepy.
There are some more little pieces, but those are the like really long, really creepy ones. So I'm going to kind of skim this letter as we go through. So please bear with me if there are any pauses. I did not do this. I did not do any research on this. But also keep in mind there were a lot of typos and errors in the writing. Brodus was spelled incorrectly. But also keep in mind that language is super elegant. Like it reads like prose, right? Like it's kind of prosy.
Yeah. No, it's
so
it's like beautiful writing, but that is scary. Also, just like, that's so just like straight out of a horror movie, like.
Right. It's so this town of Westfield, New Jersey, is ranked the 99th richest city in America, but only the 18th wealthiest in New Jersey, and then. So why would he target this town? You know, there's a question too. And then in 2014, when the Watcher struck, so probably before this, the town had been named the country's 30th safest town. So it would have never had any issues.
Oh no, that's not chill. Because Belfast is like known for being a safe area. Now I'm like paranoid.
Yeah, no. Westfield is also 86% white. Okay, so they talk about real estate. They say the boulevard was like the street to live on. It was a big deal. So here's a little about the house. It was built in 1905. It's the grandest house on the block. And when it was put on the market, the Woodses received Wait, did Orchestra just get canceled tonight? Sorry, guys. No, I have to go.
That would have been so
Wait.
awesome.
That would have been. We're leaving early again. That's so nice.
Yay,
This is
Amelia's
awesome.
leaving
Okay.
early.
Yay! Usually, guys, orchestra goes from 7:15 to 9:45, but they've been letting us go at 9 a lot recently because we only have 2 pieces right now. So that's been really nice. Anyway, sorry. We can cut that out if you want. Okay, back to this. So the house was built in 1905. It was the grandest home on the block, and when the Woodses put it on the market, they received a lot of offers over the asking price. So
Okay.
usually people bid under and try to negotiate, but everyone was offering more and more money because everyone wanted this house. So originally the Broadduses suspected that maybe the watcher was someone who was really upset about losing the house. But the Woodses said that one of the buyers backed out after a medical diagnosis and another one had already found a different home. So there was no real like war about who was getting this house. So a lot of people think, I mean, the obvious theory is it's someone in the neighborhood because they know the children's names. They said they can see in the easel. They know everything about this house. They know about the renovations. You know, they know too much that a lot of people are like, okay, they must be living in this neighborhood.
Yeah.
The letters also indicated a proximity because they were processed not far from where they were. And the first letter was postmarked June 4th before the sale was public. So before it was even noted that the house had been sold. And there was no for sale sign up either.
So that's why it was just like to the next owners.
Right. So it's very strange that the watchers seem to know like when it was sold and when renovations, but like they seem to have a timeline before things were happening.
Yeah.
And also most of the renovations were interior. So there was like no weird, there wasn't a lot happening out around the house or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
So let me see. So obviously they didn't tell anyone, any other neighbors. They did go to like some barbecues and stuff, but they're super on edge because I think anyone could be this watcher. And they didn't
That's
tell anyone.
sad to like move
Right.
into a new neighborhood and not get to know anyone because you think someone's stalking you. That's crazy.
Right. So then Derek Broaddus is chatting with one of the neighbors, and the neighbor tells him about a family called the Langfords who lived in between the Broadduses and the neighbor he's talking to.
Okay.
So it's owned by Peggy Langford, who was in her 90s, and several of her adult children, who are all in their 50s and 60s, lived with her. And Derek was told that the family was pretty odd, and one of the younger sons, Michael, didn't work and is described as kind of a Boo Radley character.
Okay.
So if you've ever read To Kill a Mockingbird,
Yes.
that's the right book, right?
That's what?
That's the right book, right? Boo Radley is from
Yes.
To Kill a
Yeah.
Mockingbird.
To Kill a Mockingbird.
Okay. It's been so long since I read that. I had a crossword
I know.
question about To Kill a
8th grade.
Mockingbird the other day.
You've been doing crosswords? I have to.
I've been doing crosswords. I've been doing the
I-
minis, but also the big ones.
Yeah, I'm simply obsessed with them.
It's so fun. It's been my favorite thing lately.
I got a
Anyway,
book of them at the airport.
Yes, I've just been doing the New York Times ones, but
Yeah.
I'm
Those are
doing
good.
those first because I'm going easy. Like I'm easing in, so I'm doing the auto check and I'm like getting used to how the clues work and stuff, so I can get really good at the hard ones. Because my mom and grandfather are like crazy good at the super hard ones, and I want to.
I do want to get
Anyway.
really good at them.
Yeah. So after hearing about the Langfords, Derek is like, all right, case solved. It's this weird guy. Because the family lived there since the 1960s, which is when it was said the watcher's father observed the house and it lined up with the age of Michael and all of that. So Richard Langford, who was Michael's father and Peggy's husband, had died 12 years earlier. And the current watcher claimed to have been on the job for a better part of 2 decades. So Derek was like, done. It's this guy. So the Broduses told the detective Lugo about the family, and he said he already knew. And a week after the first letter arrived, they already brought in Michael for an interview. So the local police were already, like, suspecting this weird guy. So Michael denied knowing anything about the letters. But the Broduses say that Lugo told them that the narrative of what he said matched some of the things in the letters. So there was no hard evidence. So the police eventually told the Broduses after a few weeks that there wasn't really much they could do. And obviously Derek is really upset about that. That was after the first letter. And then after the second letter, Derek told the cops that if they didn't take care of it, he would sue them. Whatever. He said you would have a different case on their hands. Because basically he's threatening the police.
If you don't take care of this, you're going to have a different case on your hands.
No, literally. So the Broduses start doing their own investigation. Derek becomes super obsessed. He sets up webcams. He spends nights crouched in the dark, like watching to see if anyone was watching the house.
The watched becomes the watcher.
Yeah, he has so many documents. He has a map. He has information about all the neighbors, friends, and family members. He's keeping very close watch on the Langfords. His maps have sight lines for the easel and a circle for approximate range of earshot for anyone who might have been able to hear Maria yelling the kids' names, and only a few homes fit. So he's like, he's in this. He's obsessed. He's ruined.
No.
So they
that makes me sad.
I know. They also turned to a lot of experts. They had a private investigator who staked the neighborhood, ran background checks, and didn't really find anything noteworthy. I'm just skimming now. So there was also a movie starring Keanu Reeves called The Watcher, which is about a serial killer who stalks a detective and tries to catch him. So another theory was maybe this guy had seen the movie and was kind of like playing this character, but that doesn't really a serial killer.
It's not the same.
Yeah, like it's not the same story at all. So no one really knew if the Watcher was going to act on the threats because of all the typos and errors in it. Notable is the first letter was dated Tuesday, June 4th, but June 4th was a Wednesday. So that was an error in the letter. They also noted the anger directed at the wealthy, the Watcher upset about new money moving into town. This is another aspect, I think, from the first letter. This little passage was in one of the letters. This is from the Watcher. The house is crying from all of the pain it is going through. You have changed it and made it so fancy. You are stealing its history. It cries for the past and what used to be in the time when I roamed its halls. The 1960s were a good time for 657 Boulevard, when I ran from room to room imagining the life with the rich occupants there. The house was full of life and young blood. Then it got old, and so did my father, but he kept watching until the day he died. And now I watch and wait for the day when the young blood will be in mine again.
So wait, Youngblood lived there?
Yeah.
Wait, Youngblood.
Oh, I get
What's
it
your
now.
address? What's your address, Youngblood? I had a roommate who was obsessed with Youngblood.
Ew.
And I don't know what to make of that.
Ew. Yeah, so the private investigator recommended that maybe they look into former housekeepers or descendants, and maybe it was someone who was jealous of the people that could afford this house. But the focus still was like locked in on the Langfords. Sounds like the Broduses and the police sent a letter to the Langfords, like threatening to tear down 657. which
Wow.
obviously is a false threat. They just wanted to see if they could prompt a response, but nothing happened. Michael Langford came in for a second interview, and Abby Langford, Michael's sister, came in for an interview and accused the police of harassing their family. Eventually, the Broadduses hired a lawyer who met with most of the Langford family and their attorney to show them the letters and proof and the vantage points and all of that. The Langfords insisted Michael was innocent. So yeah, like the Langfords are seeming like a dead end, even though they're the most likely suspects. Derek is having dreams about the Langfords. Maria is having dreams about someone coming to get her kids. Like, this whole family is completely paranoid. So
I would have moved out so fast. Like, I would not
Right.
still be there.
Right. So even though Michael Langford has mostly been ruled out, he's still really the main like he's the only person they have.
Yeah, I mean, who else?
But some of the reasons for other people are that the police spoke to Michael before the second letter was sent, so that would make it super risky to send two more. It would be super reckless. Then there's the rest of the neighborhood. The private investigator found 2 child sex offenders within a few blocks. So the talk about young blood and all that, like it could be something creepy like that.
That's awful.
The house painter noticed that a couple behind the house kept a pair of lawn chairs strangely close to the Broadduses' property. But at the end of 2014, the investigation was stalled. There was no digital trail, no fingerprints, no way to put someone at the scene. All they had were these letters. So in December, the Westfield police told the Broadduses they'd run out of options. Derek showed the letters to his priest, who agreed to bless the house. And that's the best they got. So, a few months after that, also, how are you on time? Do you need to go?
No, I'm doing okay.
Okay, cool.
I'm on the edge of my seat.
Okay, this might be a little bit of a longer one because this is a very long story and there's no way in hell we're ending early. Okay. So the renovations, including a new alarm system and cameras and all of that, were done within a few months. But the idea of moving in, obviously, like, the Broadduses did not want to do that. But they couldn't afford both their houses. I think they originally lived with Maria's parents for a minute. Part-time, too. Anyway, they've been so joyous about their new home, but now they're petrified. This was another part of one of the letters he had sent. So basically, this article is from The Cut, citing my sources right now. It's called The Haunting of 657 Boulevard. But yeah, so this is an article, so I think they're breaking up the letter a little bit to make it more like story worthy. You know, when you read a story, it's different than like telling a timeline. So I think this is part of one of the first or second letters. Probably one of the most recent ones. 657 Boulevard is turning on me. It is coming after me. I don't understand why. What spell did you cast on it? It used to be my friend, and now it is my enemy. I am in charge of 657 Boulevard. It is not in charge of me. I will fend off its bad things and wait for it to become good again. It will not punish me. I will rise again. I will be patient and wait for this to pass and for you to bring the young blood back to me. 657 Boulevard needs young blood. It needs you. Come back. Let the young blood play again like I once did. Let the young blood sleep in 657 Boulevard. Stop changing it and let it alone. So the Broadduses did sell their old home and moved in with Maria's parents while continuing to pay the mortgage and property taxes on 657. So they're paying for this house. And also like taking care of the house. Derek, this is strange. Derek says he had to do things like shovel the driveway, and he calls it a little indignity. Like, he hates that he has to go shovel the driveway of 657 and then come do it again at his in-laws, which that could hint to the greed and, like, the rich kind of egotistical perspective.
Yeah.
No one really knew about the letters, so a lot of people are getting suspicious and wondering if the couple is having legal issues or getting divorced. They fought a lot. They were depressed. They started going to therapy. They were just having so many issues. The therapist said this post-traumatic stress was not going to go away until they got rid of the house. So 6 months after the letters arrived, yes, that works. 6 months after, so beginning of 2015, the Broadduses decide to sell 657 Boulevard. They initially list it for more than they paid because of the renovations, and it's worth a ton of money. But the town is super gossipy, and there were rumors
no one wants
from
it.
Sexual predator to stalker. No one wants it. And they had to do a partial disclosure on this. Like, this is a police issue. It's a legal matter. Like, potential buyers do need to know what was happening. So some bids came in, but it was super below the asking price. They didn't want to take a financial hit. So they ended up lowering the price. They still couldn't get anything. So it's not working very well. So they started thinking about what the Woods had told them about their letter from the Watcher. The Broadduses said that the Woods had told the Broadduses that the letter they received was more strange than threatening, and thanked them for taking care of the house, and said they never had any issues. They said they never felt watched, and they rarely even locked the doors.
Ooh.
So the Broadduses felt the name alone was ominous enough to merit mentioning to a new family moving in. So
yeah, absolutely.
because the Woodses didn't mention this letter to the Broadduses. So June 2nd, 2015, a year after buying 657 Boulevard and just 2 days shy of a year from the first letter, they filed a legal complaint against the Woodses, arguing that they should have disclosed the letter, just in case. Keep in mind the Broadduses need money now too, so like so they say they hope to reach a quiet settlement. Their kids still didn't know about the kids had no idea. And the lawyer assured them that it would just be a small news story if it did get picked up. Local reporter found the complaint. The story went viral. News trucks showed up. Reporters showed up. They got over 300 media requests. Everyone wants to know about this story. So the family had to vacate Westfield, and they went to a friend's beach house. Eventually, they had to tell
beach house. Wow.
Yeah, eventually they had to tell their children what was going on because they had questions. The kids wanted to know who it was, where do they live, why are they angry, and they couldn't answer any of the questions. So from a worldwide point of this story, this was like a real life true crime mystery. So people were super into it. A lot of people wanted to know what was in the walls, who the Watcher was. Obviously, this was all over Reddit. People are trying to figure this out. So, and then in Westfield, people remained on edge. They were super worried about this potential Watcher, even though no one had heard from him in a year or so. The police said their investigation had been exhaustive, so it was just done. Most of the neighbors had never heard from the cops, so they were surprised as to how this could be exhausted when.
So they didn't question all the neighbors? Yeah.
No. And they just said they were done.
Okay. That's not exhausted.
So, a veteran detective in the Westfield Police, Detective Chambliss, starts looking at the case. And he knows they had looked closely at Michael Lanford. Michael had been diagnosed with schizophrenia as a young man. Chambliss finds out. He spooked newcomers to the neighborhood sometimes. But those who knew him said those were just kind of odd things he did, like his way of showing neighborly kindness and joking.
Yeah.
One of the next door neighbors said he would go out and get newspapers for them every morning, and people who'd known him for decades said they didn't think he was at all capable for this, even if he was a little odd. Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
So Detective Chambliss is looking into the case, and he finds something surprising. Eventually, don't know why they didn't do this in the first place, but eventually investigators had conducted a DNA analysis on one of the envelopes and determined that the DNA belonged to a woman.
Okay. What's her name? Woods girl?
The old lady, Woods. Who lived there before. Chambliss also decided to look more closely at Abby Langford, who was Michael's sister and worked as a real estate agent. So they're wondering if maybe she was upset about missing a commission next door or anything like that. They eventually tricked her into drinking from a water bottle so they could test her DNA, and the sample was not a match.
Okay.
Then not
I feel
very
like
long
that's a
after
little
that,
shady to do as a police officer, to trick someone into.
I mean, that's what it if you're in a questioning room and the police hand you a glass of water, they want you to touch it.
Yeah.
They want your fingerprints. It's a tactic. I watched a lot of crime shows, you guys.
I could tell.
So the sample was not a match, and the prosecutor's office, not long after this, tells Derek and Maria that they had ruled out the Langfords as suspects, but they wouldn't tell them why or how. The prosecutor's office just said, we're done with the Langfords. It wasn't them. So the Broadduses are very stunned. They're confused. And they don't have any suspects anymore. So they reopen their personal investigation. Keep in mind, they still own they still own this house. They still didn't want to share too much with their neighbors. They hoped someone might recognize the handwriting from a Christmas card or something. So they did bring the handwritten envelope around to see if anyone recognized it. But there was nothing. They hired a company to look for handwriting matches. They didn't find anything. They hired a forensic linguist who didn't find anything. Derek tried to get a friend in tech to connect him to a hacker who could try breaking into the Wi-Fi networks. But doing so turned out to be illegal, so they didn't do that. But
I would have done it anyways.
I know, right? Detective Chambliss and the police were also back at square one. Andrea Woods was asked for a DNA sample, and they interviewed her 21-year-old son. A year after they had no fresh leads because it's a year after. Okay, so they had missed a significant clue from a year before that they were able to find. Now that they're doing a much wider search in the investigation. Around the same time the Broadduses received their first letter, another family on the boulevard got a similar note from the watcher. So another family had gotten one too and just, didn't say anything.
How did they not?
The parents of that family had lived in their house for years and their kids were grown, so they threw the letter away just like the Woodses. But after the news broke, one of the children posted about it on Facebook, then deleted the post, but investigators spoke to the family. They confirmed that it was a letter similar to the Broadduses, but it didn't give them much to go on because there wasn't anything super notable or threatening about that one. So no one really knows. There was another suspect, potential, someone in the video who plays dark video games and plays as this guy named the Watcher sometimes. So they check in with this guy, but nothing came of it.
That's such a weird coincidence.
I know. So no one bought the house. I don't believe. They may have. Hold on, let me get to the end of this because it's been a while. This article came out a few years ago, before the Netflix show as well.
Okay.
So everyone's really confused, and there are no suspects, no real theories. And so eventually, can you guess what this new theory is?
Someone in the family?
The new theory was that maybe the Broadduses sent the letters to themselves.
Okay.
So some of this theory was that maybe they suffered buyer's remorse, they realized they couldn't afford the home, and they concocted some way to get out of the sale. or do insurance fraud, or a lot of people said maybe they were angling for a movie deal. The Broadduses received several offers but turned them down, and then after this article came out, obviously Netflix picked it up and bought it for a lot of money, I'm pretty sure. But keep in mind,
that just doesn't seem right, though. They wouldn't do that.
Right.
Like,
well, also, they lost so much money with this.
they lost so much money, and also the dad, like, literally losing his mind over this.
Right,
It does
and they
not
didn't
seem
have a
like
home.
he would do that.
Like,
Yeah,
it just doesn't make a lot of sense. But it is a theory that maybe Maria did it. Again, no one knows why. I don't know. But the police did test Maria's DNA, and it didn't match the letter either. So nothing is making sense at all. So the Broadduses eventually became outcasts from their home and their town. Derek wanted to leave, but Maria didn't want to uproot her kids. Staying in the town was stressful. Anyway, so they're debating on whether to move or stay. So meanwhile, they still had to figure out what to do with 657. Their lawsuit with the Woodses was pending, but seemed unlikely to succeed. They're having trouble getting someone to close on the house. So in spring of 2016, this is another year later, 2 years after the first letter, they put it back on the market, hoping it might garner more interest because of how people reacted to the letters and the story. They had an open house, which said it was well attended, and after, Derek and Maria spent hours researching every person who signed in and compared their handwriting.
Wow.
But each time a potential buyer expressed interest and met with their lawyer to read the letters, they backed out. So the letters are keeping everyone from buying this house. So someone was like, I'm going to get the house at a discount because it's so cheap. He had heard about these letters, so he said, fuck it, I'm going to get this house at a discount. It's this guy from New York. And then they said he read the letters and they never heard from him again. So once people are actually reading word for word the letters, they are bailing. They do not want this house.
Yeah. I mean, why would you?
Right. So the Broaddus's real estate lawyer proposed an idea to sell the house to a developer who could tear it down or do something with it. They thought they could get $1 million for the lot.
That's good.
So yeah, they're thinking about it. People are skeptical about what happened. The neighbors are pretty critical about the whole situation. The board rejected the proposal to tear down the house, I think, and do what they had said, for them to sell it and get money for the lot. So that was rejected, and obviously Derek and Maria were distraught because they've lost so much money and they just cannot get rid of this house. And also Maria had grown up in this town, so she's also distraught of like, I grew up here, I came back, I wanted to raise my kids here, and like all of a sudden this is happening. A family with grown children and 2 big dogs had agreed to rent 657 Boulevard. The renter told a newspaper that he wasn't worried about the watcher, though he had a clause in the lease that let him out in case of another letter. 2 weeks later, Derek went to 657 to deal with squirrels that had taken up residence on the roof. The renter handed him an envelope that had just arrived. It reads,
oh my God.
Violent winds and bitter cold to the vile and spiteful Derek and his wench of a wife, Maria. So that's the beginning of the letter. It comes 2.5 years after the watcher had appeared. It was dated February 13th.
And they haven't heard from him in over a year?
Yep. So then, now,
oh my God.
Now listen to this part of the letter.
Okay.
Because the language sounds a little bit different. You wonder who the watcher is? Turn around, idiots, the letter read. Maybe you even spoke to me, one of the so-called neighbors who has no idea who the watcher could be. Or maybe you do know and are too scared to tell anyone. Good move. So the watcher, they could tell from this letter that the watcher had seen the media coverage, and they said, I walked by the news trucks when they took over my neighborhood and mocked me. I watched as you walked from the dark house in an attempt to find me. telescopes and binoculars are wonderful inventions. 657 Boulevard survived your attempted assault and stood strong with its army of supporters barricading its gates. My soldiers of the boulevard followed my orders to a T. They carried out their mission and saved the soul of 657 Boulevard with my orders. All hail the Watcher. The renter was also mentioned in the letter. He was spooked, but he agreed to stay if the Broadduses installed cameras, because the letter also indicated that revenge could come. So this was part of that same letter. It said maybe a car accident, maybe a fire, maybe something as simple as a mild illness that never seems to go away, but makes you feel sick day after day after day after day. Maybe the mysterious death of a pet, loved ones suddenly die, planes and cars and bicycles crash, bones break.
That is so strange.
So
that one sounds a lot more threatening than the other ones.
Right, it's more threatening, but also they say, like, you're idiots, you idiots, and, like, the language is just different. It sounds a little bit more childish. Like, you're gonna pay for this. Like, it sounds ridiculous.
Yeah.
So the Broadduses are continuing to press this case, but law enforcement didn't have much to go on. There was nothing to do. So
I wonder what Reddit has, like, what conclusion Reddit has come to, like, who they think it is.
Yeah. So
because sometimes the Redditors get more done.
Right. So the Broadduses. This is a few months later. The Broadduses no longer live in ever-present fear that the Watcher might strike, just because they hadn't heard from him in a long time. But they deal from the lingering effects of the letters. I think they had also moved and gotten a different house. So they have a new tenant at 657, but the rent doesn't cover the mortgage. The kids are teased at school. The rumors fly around. They're trying to avoid people who spoke out against them at the board meeting. Like, they are just really, this is never going to get away from them.
That is so sad.
When this article was written, the author said that most people had told them that they rarely thought of the Watcher anymore. The real estate market was doing just fine. And many were surprised to hear that the Broadduses were still kind of dealing with the repercussions of this. They hope that a few years of renting the place without incident will help them sell it. The prosecutor's office was continuing its investigation, but the Broadduses knew it was unlikely that the Watcher would ever be caught.
Wow.
The Watcher was also no longer the only person sending anonymous letters in Westfield. Last Christmas Eve, several families received an envelope in their mailboxes. They'd been delivered by hand to the homes of people who had been the most vocal in criticizing the Broadduses online. One of them... Oh, wait. So some of the families had said the letters were weirdly poetic. It accused families of speculating inaccurately about the Broadduses. It included stories about recent acts of domestic terrorism. And the typed letters were signed Friends of the Broaddus family. So the writer of these letters obviously had, like, the idea of the Watcher, or was the Watcher, no one knows, but also a simmering resentment to all of the neighbors now.
Yeah.
The Broadduses didn't even really know. Wait.
Imagine this was just some teenager who thought it... What?
Okay, so I didn't know this part. So these strange letters that went to all the neighbors, they asked Derek Broaddus if he wrote them, and he admitted that he did. He said he wasn't proud of it. He didn't. The new letters, not the original Watcher letters.
Okay.
He said he hadn't even told his wife he was going to do it, and said they were only anonymous that he'd written. He'd been driven to his wit's end. He was really angry, and he felt like he just needed to do something. The Watcher had become obsessed with 657 Boulevard, and Derek in turn had become obsessed with the Watcher.
Wow, and he did it in the same style too. That's crazy.
Yep.
Dude, when you said like, oh my god, that literally scared me so bad. That was like a jump scare for me. Like, I'm so on edge right now.
I hadn't read ahead. So there was one more letter. Okay. A fourth letter after they had moved out and everything. And it said, "You were despised by the house. and the Watcher won. And that is the end of this article. That is the end of the Watcher story. It is a limited TV series on Netflix. It came out in November 2018. Okay. I'm gonna find a quick update on the case. Oh, they're gonna make me buy a subscription to read this article.
Oh my god! To what?
But
New York Times?
New York Magazine.
Oh.
I'm starting a trial. It's okay, you guys.
Okay, good. We gotta get this info out.
Yep, I'm buying this for $1.
Here's an example of what you can use your money towards for the podcast. You can buy us articles that we can read so that we can offer you the most valid recent information.
The other thing too is,
if this ever happened to me, I'd simply have to kill myself. Like, I could not handle that.
The other thing too is, why did it not? Hold on, I have to put in my credit card info. Alyssa from Let's Get Haunted, has gone super crazy on some of the cases and has started like purchasing court documents. If you guys want us to purchase court documents,
we will.
Give us some money and we'll go in depth on some cases and have some fun with this.
Yeah, that would be super cool.
Okay, my subscription is loading and I will see if there's any notable updates on this case. You
know, we solve those Target murder mystery boxes. We think we could solve an actual case. Like, give us a real one.
Okay. So this article was published October 11th, 2022. Same author, same website, The Cut. Author Reeves Weideman. Okay, so he says he talked about the story in his article in November 2018. He's recapping here a little bit. Okay, in March 2019, 5 years after the Broadduses paid more than $1.35 million for the house, they put it on the market at a discount. The preference was to sell it to a builder, but obviously that got rejected. Eventually, a young family in town agreed to buy it for $959,000, which after renovations and everything, this is roughly a loss of $400,000. Before factoring in agent's cut. So they lost even more. As well as another $100,000 in property taxes and all the lawyers and private investigators and stuff they had to hire for this. So Derek's final mortgage payment, his 60th mortgage payment before they closed on the house, was $5,495.13. He had paid this 60 times, and it was for a house the family had never had a chance to live in. So they lost so much money from this. The Broadduses did let the new owners know about the Watcher, and attached a photograph of the handwriting just in case, but as of when this article was written in 2022, and there are no updates past this, so I'm assuming this is the end of it. They had never received any more letters. There were no real developments. It turned over to a couple different prosecutors' offices. Nothing came of it.
That's crazy that they seem to be the only family that really got like in-depth letters.
Yeah, because like they did like
the Woods had that like one little one before, but that was like after they had already lived there for so long, and then they were planning to move. And then no more letters after that. I mean, maybe the Watcher just died.
Oh, there's no evidence, but they did. A public photo of the Watcher's handwriting was released.
Oh, nice.
And I will send this to you.
Okay.
It looks like a child's handwriting. There are no theories that a child did this, but in the Let's Get Haunted episode, Jamie did talk about how it could potentially. I think this is from the third letter.
No, did you not hear me earlier? Because, like, this could...
You said someone in the family.
Yeah. You know what this looks like? This looks like... I mean, I honestly just wouldn't be surprised if it was an older person who, like, doesn't have much family, who has a lot of mental health problems.
Yeah.
I feel like that's usually what it is. And I don't know. It does look kind of like a child's handwriting, though.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's also how your handwriting gets when you're older as well.
Yeah. There was I'm not going to go into this just because of time. If you guys want the rest of the update, you can find this article. It's called What We Know About the Watcher Case 4 Years Later, or you could go listen to Let's Get Haunted. But there was a theory about a local teacher who may have, some people speculated he could have been the Watcher, but there was no, like, obviously, this article was written 2 years before now, and this never went anywhere. So it's kind of strange, and a lot of people are saying there's nothing there. So no one was found, and most of the early suspects of the case have now died. So, like, this is done. Like, this is not happening anymore.
That really, like,
a
there's
lot of people
unsolved ones, they just, like, ugh, they freak me out. Like, I need to know.
Yeah, a lot of people thinks it could be the family, but I don't know, because they seem pretty broken up about the whole thing. And it says 8 years later, they still live in Westfield, but they got a smaller house. They're still having a difficult time with the case, but they're just trying to move on. They turned down a lot of offers for documentaries and shows and things like that, but then they signed an agreement with Netflix. But it turns out the money from Netflix didn't even cover the losses on the house. So if this was some financial scheme, they didn't get much.
I just really don't think it was. I honestly either think it was, like, some teenagers trying to play a prank. Yeah. Because let me tell you, I did something like this when I was a kid. I didn't traumatize a family, that's for sure. But I did write notes and hide them in, and then, like, try and watch people find them, and they were eerie.
Yeah.
But, like,
it could be.
I feel like it could be that, or it could be someone who, like, is, like, mentally ill and doesn't have help or people. And
I am gonna watch the show. I probably will binge it. It's
so you could update us next week on how it is.
There's 8 episodes, and IMDb says it's a total of, like, 5.5 hours. So I'll probably watch this and let everyone know how it is. It's not like a true crime. It's filmed like an actual story. They changed the names of all the characters from the Brodus to the Brannock family. There's some cool people in here. The cast is kind of stacked. Naomi Watts plays the wife. Mia Farrow's in it. Jennifer Coolidge is in it. Oh, I am most definitely watching this. Anyway, so I will check it out, and I'll let you guys know what I think. But that is my story for today. This episode is very much inspired by Let's Get Haunted. I know it's strange to be talking about a different podcast so much on our podcast, but they are just really fun and wonderful.
You got to learn from the people who do it best. Well, thanks for telling me. That was super interesting, and it creeped me out like crazy. I'm scared to leave my room right now.
I'm so sorry. I have to walk out in the dark later.
Good luck, girl.
I'll be scared too.
No, but that was super cool. If that ever happened to me, it wouldn't, because I can't imagine that. No.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't make it very long, I don't think. I think I would probably die of literal fear.
No, I would literally have a heart attack and pass away the second I received that. Wow.
Yeah. But this podcast
Well-
has totally put me in like a conspiracy theory true crime mode. I'm having so much fun with it.
That's so cool.
So
we
I
should do
thought-
another one of these because it was really fun.
We should. I'll keep listening, and I mean, there have been so many good stories, but I'll see if there are any of the more like popular ones. Because obviously, we don't want to copy what they're doing, but
No, yeah. Or
this
we could
is a
find our
popular
own.
story. Yeah, we should. Do
I
some
feel
research.
like I really want to do an episode on Gwen Shamblin.
Oh my god, can we do that? Can we do that next week?
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you down
Yeah,
for
yeah,
that?
yeah. Absolutely.
Oh my gosh. Oh, I forgot to tell you. My dad watched the documentary.
Oh, what did he think? What
on
did he
the trip-
think?
He thought it was so crazy, and he kept saying
It
like, it's crazy how all
was.
that. Anyway, if you guys
And
don't know
I'm
what we're
related
talking
to
about,
her. I'm
will.
related to her. That's crazy.
But when we were visiting my dad, Lucy kept telling him about this, and he kept asking for the
Documentary name?
yes, and he told me the other day he watched it and he thought it was crazy how like
It was.
anyway.
Yeah, I want to do a whole episode on it because it's wild.
Okay, I'm gonna let you do because I know most of the story, but you have more familiarity with it, and I haven't seen the documentary, so I'm gonna let you take that one.
Okay,
good with you.
yay. I'm so excited. All right.
Sounds good.
Well, thank you guys for listening.
We have some fun stuff coming soon, so stay tuned.
Yeah. You get an extra long episode today.
Yeah.
Love
All
and
right.
kisses. Love and
Love.
kisses.